that from our perspective, there hasn't been a whole lot of activity in the Senate side this week that is really the high priority things that we think we ought to do. So, in thinking about, well, what do we talk about today? I thought what we could talk about are the top 10 Democrat unsession items that are things from the first half of this session, things that we did last year. So, number 10 on that list is the warehouse tax. Obviously, that was a good idea last year. Apparently, it's not such a good idea this year. Number 9, the telecommunications tax, same thing. Good idea last year. Let's undo it this year. Number 8, the equipment repair tax. Great idea last year. Not so much this year. Number 7, the death tax. Wasn't a good idea last year. Good idea this year. Tax conformity. Not a good idea last year. Good idea this year. The gift ban for legislators. That was a good idea last year, but maybe in an election year, not so much. Fixing the school lunch program, as Representative Dowd said, wasn't a good idea last year, but maybe a good idea this year. The legislative office building was a great idea last year. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be such a good idea this year, kind of bogged down. And, of course, the 5% campaign wasn't a good idea last year, but I guess this year it is a good idea. And, of course, the number one thing that the Democrats plan to unsession this year is the law requiring the Commissioner of Agriculture to round up wild boars running loose in the streets of St. Paul. And that was okay last year, but we're going to undo it. You know what? That's the one thing we probably shouldn't undo, because I've been around here for 10 years. I've seen no boars running around the streets. It's working. Why would we want to undo that and run the risk of having boars running around? So we think this is the biggest collective flip-flop in Minnesota history. Those things that were all unsatisfactory in the first half of the session are now on the table. All the things that Republicans were advocating for last year are all of a sudden good ideas in an election year. You can draw your own conclusions.